The state announced today that it's planning to draft a new rule changing eligibility requirements for the AIDS Drug Assistance Program. Now, the health department was planning on making changes that would have cut about 10,000 people from the program. The AIDS Healthcare Foundation did challenge the new requirements, claiming the state wasn't following the mandatory rulemaking process. Today's notice is the first step in that process, which includes public comment. The state has been trying to cut about $120 million to make up for rising premiums and federal cuts to a grant used to fight HIV and AIDS.